That summer was 1 Peter 3:3-4, and it just shook me because, like I said, I had just been living in selfishness and finding my pleasure in other things. And it's really about what God finds as precious in a woman and in a girl. And I just write it down because I think it's the best verse. Do not let your adorning be external, the braiding of hair and the putting on of gold jewelry or the clothing you wear. But let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. What he finds valuable about you is your heart and where your heart's at. And what is your heart seeking? What is your heart looking to find pleasure in? Yourself and other people? For me, it was guys. I had to break that and I had to cut it off. But I would just really challenge you to look at your heart and to see what you're serving and who you're serving. So that one just really rocked my world, and for a while there, I didn't really know why it was my favorite verse. It just really stuck out to me because it was saying, wow, this is what God finds precious about me. But as I looked into it more, I've really found a lot of great things in it. So yeah, now one of the chapters I really invested time in was Proverbs 31, and I'm sure you've all heard it before. The classic thing at Northwestern is, oh, you want to be a Proverbs 31 girl. And that's what the chapter is about. It's just about what does God find in a godly woman, and it talks about her as a wife. But all of us here are girls. We're growing up and we want to be this kind of girl someday. We want to be this kind of woman. And it's something that I've really looked into. It's not all totally applicable to my life yet, but we're going to get there. And we're going to grow into these people and hopefully using it as a guide as to what God finds important in girls and what God finds valuable is in this chapter. And I would just really challenge you. Actually, we're going to look at it together in a little bit, but I'm just going to read it right now. So just let it sink in, and then after I'm done reading it, I'm going to have you break up into, Allie will probably put some little groups together, but we're going to dig into it more with your leaders. So just let it sink in. An excellent wife. So just when I say wife, think about women, girls, who you want to be someday. An excellent wife, who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does good to him and not harm. All the days of her life, she seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. And she puts her hand to the distaff, and her hand holds the spindle. She opens her hands to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed in scarlet. She makes her bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and she delivers sashes to the merchant. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. I would encourage you to figure out what the word idleness means. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. And I know a lot of it is a lot of imagery and a lot of pictures of things, but I really think it's a great passage, and if you just look into it, you can totally find some great applications to your life, and to really just think about, this is a woman who fears the Lord. How in different ways can I become that, and how can I make little steps to improve in that way? So if we could just break up for even just like 10 minutes, and maybe read through it again and then talk about it, and then we'll come back and talk about maybe what we found. And I'll get like a couple things from each group maybe. Yeah, excited to hear what you guys have. We're just going to take like 1 or 2 takeaways that your group had, and it's okay if you repeat it a little bit because there's a lot of really good ones in there that I would want to grab. But the people in this group, do you guys have any volunteers to share?
I'm Tristan. No! You go first. How it said that her husband had no lack of game. That really touched me because to know that a guy that you like doesn't really matter what you do as long as you do it right.
In the Lord's way, that's awesome.
At verse 31, it says, "Give her the reward she has earned, and let her words bring your praise at the city gate." So they're trying to reward her for what she's done for everybody.
So why do you like that? What was your takeaway from it?
Well, it's actually really good because she's helping everybody out, and she's helping people get through their life.
And she's not recognized for her looks in this passage. She's not recognized for all those shallow things that you might put your worth into. She's recognized for those things that she did for other people, and those are God's call on our lives. And I think that's awesome. Great one. Okay, how about
in verse 17 and 19, when it said like she worked vigorously and like how she just did it, it made me think about like how she did it happily, and she wasn't like, oh, I have to do this. She was like, this is something that I can do to like please others. And it made me think about like when Jesus washed the disciples' feet and like how I don't know, explain it. He didn't put himself like above them. He was saying like you should help others, and just when you do something, do it like with joy, I guess. So.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I think it was verse 30, but when Taylor read that just that your mom is like always kind of there for you, but like she's up every day and every night for you, that like she never stops going, and that she's like you can never let your mom down or something like that.
I'm not the best speaker, but I have no clue what verse this is in. But in a verse that you
Say like what your takeaway was from it.
yeah, that you don't really need to be pretty and skinny to impress a guy, that he's looking for the inside of what you really are.
And speaking of, shouldn't that be our standard then? Shouldn't that be, are you looking for that guy who's looking at the external, or are you trying to find that guy that loves your heart because it loves Jesus? You know, and I think that's really important. Okay, now we'll hop to Allie's group.
26, she can laugh at the days to come. Just like, you have to trust and have an inner peace. Not just be worried about what's going to happen in your life.
Trust the Lord with all your heart. That is constantly speaking with uplifting words. I mean, who wouldn't want to be around that kind of a person? It's so uplifting and infectious.
Well, I kind of have one more where the woman she was
Like any real guy like that has like that a godly Christian solid guy will be looking for like Proverbs 31 woman. It's like what they're attracted to, even if they're not consciously attracted to it. It's like kind of goes along with the gentle and quiet spirit. Like not only should you do this for yourself and like for God to live this way, but like also because that's what your future spouse will be attracted to. Kind of like what Kaylee said.
My huge take from it, every time it goes to, she reaches her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy as well. I think that one is huge, thinking about constantly helping other people. A woman of God isn't serving herself, she's serving others. And that just goes back to my testimony too about finding the Lord through really coming to the end of my selfish person and my selfish idols that I had, which in my case were guys. But I just challenge you at the end here just to think about what's in your life that maybe is keeping you from God. It could be guys like mine, but it can be a lot of other things. It could be looks. It could be your friends. Just so many different things. So yeah, if anyone has any questions or anything, then I'll just wrap it up.